scuffling mood tonight. It's Casey Thompson. Look at those belts. Oh, man, I love that new array behind you. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Little by little, we're growing. Have a new one coming in.
I've got the beautiful gray panel wall back here.
I like that gray paneling, though. It's very sophisticated.
I know. Yeah, that looks sharp. And once it's all done, Case will have to do like the tour of the man cave / studio, because that'll be awesome.
That's right.
Everybody will like
Absolutely.
it. Hi, everybody. This is the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. 24 hours late. I was tired. I ain't going to lie.
Yeah, I got messages. I didn't see you guys. YouTube didn't notify us. I'm like,
yeah, I know. Southern Joe.
But I see that you did put, yes. In Australia, they get upset when we're not on. But I said, we're on tonight. Yep. But I did see that you put on Twitter X or whatever it's called, a little tweet, new shift, a little tired. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, man. Just going from working nights to working days, basically, it's a 12-hour, change.
Yeah.
It's much better because I get 3 days off in a row. Like, I worked,
nice.
Yesterday, Sunday, and today. So I'm halfway done with my week. I'm finished on Wednesday. It's beautiful.
Wow, that shift kicked your ass, though.
Yeah.
The nighttime. Oh, yes. It's brutal. I did it for many, many years. I did it where I could still be a part of the kid's life and be around them and didn't want to miss anything.
Right.
All I did was gave up a lot of sleep in the process, but it was all good,
Yeah, and what I was finding is that I was sleeping a lot more because I didn't have to go to work until 6 p.m. And so I would wake up, say, I'd get home at 3:30 and be asleep by 5 and wake up at 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then go back to bed at 3, wake up at 5. So I'm missing the whole day. Yeah. And now it's like, yeah, I'm at work, but at least it's daylight outside and I feel like a functioning.
Right.
Anyway, yes, thanks for the patience, everybody, with the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. It's a Monday night, and I was thinking of, since we're doing this show live on a Monday night, I thought, let me take a look at some of my notes and figure out what I thought was the best Monday Night Raw or Raw is War episode during my time. And there were a few that were way up there, including the night after The Rock stole the WWF Championship with the help of Mr. McMahon's cronies to become the WWF champ and side with the corporation. And we were in Rupp Arena. And if you go back and you watch it on YouTube, watch the opening segment, Vince introduces The Rock. And we were legit sold out at the Rupp Arena, so there was about 19,000 people in there. That's a monster building.
I bet they wish they had that now.
Yeah. But anyway, so
greedy TKO.
Yeah. Oh, they don't want to sell all the seats. That means they'll have money under that. What? That's dumb. But so we want to have, you want to have a good time. You go back and watch some of that 97 action of Raw when the heat was set. Now, the episode that I picked is also from 1997. And when I get into it, fans will, if they remember it, if they watch it back, they'll understand why. But this time period of Raw that we're going to talk about this week will then set the stage for Casey next week to talk about his favorite episode of Nitro. And, you'll
Now it looks like Kevin's freezing a little bit. I hope I'm not talking over you right now, Kevin. I know Kevin was talking about his favorite episode from Raw is War. Since tonight is Monday night, we're usually on Sundays, but we're here tonight, so we're gonna talk about wrestling Monday night. Oh, he's coming back right in. So, like we always say, everything here is live. We don't edit nothing. So we have a little technical difficulties. As you can see some of the belts I have. This is the NWA World Tag Team Championship. the Mid-Atlantic version. That is the NWA, Southern Heavyweight Championship. This is from the 70s here. This is the Florida version. That's where I'm from, so that's what I like. The United States Tag Team Championship. Right there is Bruno's belt from the 70s. WWWF Tag Team Championship. That's a Hogan World Championship belt up there. That is the famous NWA TV title. That's what's known as the Lex US Championship. And another one I'm sitting behind is the National Tag Team title. So it's a new little hobby I have, collecting belts. A lot of the guys that have held these belts I have actually wrestled with. So that's actually it's pretty good. I get to sit back, think. It helps me bring my cognitive functions back in my brain, and it helps me where I'm able to remember things, where I can bring them and tell you guys about them when we're having story time, which we're about to have. Once I get the collection going a little bit more, we're gonna pick out one belt. Maybe once a month we'll have a little a little, I don't know, story time. We want to come up with a little catchy name, belt time with Casey and Kevin, whatever. And we'll talk about the history of that particular title, and we can talk about people that held it. There might have been people that held it that I've actually wrestled or Kevin's called matches against. So there's a lot of little intertwines a lot. We can do a lot of stuff like that. So you see that Kevin is texting me. He's having little technical difficulties right now. So he'll be back shortly. Usually the chat is going like crazy, but right now it seems like we're on Monday night and a lot of people not in. Kevin, yes, Southern Joe, he is frozen. You're absolutely right. He's frozen, but he's coming back. Here he comes. There he is, Kevin Kelly.
Hurry up and wait, because I'm having internet issues tonight. I don't know why.
Okay. This sucks doing it by yourself, though, man.
I know, right?
I might have to do my first editing out.
So we were looking back 1997 as a powerful time for the Monday Night Raw program. And this was at the time where there was a seismic shift within both Titan Towers and the TV studio. And this was after the lowest rated Raw that they had in history, which was in early February 1997. And it was from Kuwait and something else, and it was boring and dull. And
did you have to go on that trip?
I did not.
Oh, were you wanting to or no?
I would have. I would have loved to have gone, but it was.
Okay.
It was like it was kind of like a baby version of the Saudi deal. Now, this was it was bought shows,
and they scaled it back.
They did scaled it way back. Just brought the talent and recorded it and got 2 episodes or 4 episodes of TV out of it. But it was boring house show wrestling, and no storylines and nothing really to grab you.
Right.
Plus, the guys weren't over, and Austin wasn't established, and it was just. Bleh. But now, TV studio, they've all gotten involved. They're getting ready. They're rolling out the new Raw is War set, and everything is going to be cooking here in a little bit. On the road to WrestleMania 13, which was rotten and boring, but they had already set kind of the matches and the storylines, so this was finishing that before they could start the new stuff, leading to 14.
Right.
This was also a time where Vince Russo was starting to get more involved in the
Oh,
TV, in the creation, in the philosophy of it, because Vince was like, what are we going to do, pal? We can't keep going the way we're going because this shit sucks. He called all the
right.
forces together in the office, and, so Pat and Bruce and JR and everybody was there, and he's like, well, what are we going to do about it, pal? And Vince Russo had a copy of Raw magazine and said, this is what we need to be doing. We're shooting here on this, and we're just telling it like it is. And nobody else had any ideas. And so Vince McMahon said, all right, pal, let's see what you got. That was kind of how the Crash TV, the Attitude Era version of all of that, sort of how it all took place. So
Russo was doing the magazine then, right?
yeah, he was the editor-in-chief.
Did any of the people in the magazine department think that they're going to become TV writers now?
Well, the only one that did was Bill Banks, who was a writer, and wrote feature articles for the magazines and for .com and things like that. And then
Did
he
Ed
followed.
Farrar, was he magazine or no?
No, he was simply a
Oh,
TV
okay.
writer. But
Gotcha.
Bill Banks left when Russo left and worked with him in WCW, and then I'm very positive he worked with him in TNA as well.
Oh, wow.
And was with TNA for quite a long time. And so now all of the forces are rallying behind this new edgy TV show. And there was also something very important as well that had happened, and that was Shawn Michaels had lost his smile. And yeah, he dropped the belt and went home because he knew at WrestleMania the plan was for him and Bret, he was going to have to put Bret over. Again, WrestleMania 12, Iron Man match, Shawn over Bret in overtime. Next year at 13 in Chicago, Bret over Shawn.
So Bret did business with him, and then Shawn didn't want to?
No, exactly.
Wow. See, that's really left out of the story. That's really left out of the Montreal Screwjob. They don't tell that kind of stuff that Shawn's been a dick for years. Not just about the Sunny stuff and everything else. Just all in all, he's just he always was a piece of shit. I guess now he found God, and yeah, he was. Everyone will tell you. He even says it.
Yes, that's what I mean.
It's hard to it's hard to look at someone now and say, "Oh, you're okay now." It's just
Jesus saves. I'm sorry, I was a jerk. No,
yeah,
I mean he was.
I didn't mean to shit in your bag either.
I think that is a guilt and something that Shawn Michaels carries with him all the time. Because
you think so?
Yeah,
okay.
I do. I really do. From all indications of everybody that I have spoken to that is involved with the NXT product, he is humble and contrite and laid back and very personable and is a much different person than we could describe him during his drug-fueled heyday. And it was okay, so let's look at it. Point of view, he and Bret didn't get along, right?
Right.
And the Clique had tried to destroy Bret Hart. And they were unsuccessful in doing so. And Bret, without firing a shot, got two members of the Clique, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, to leave, right? X-Pac gone. Then Nash and Hall gone.
Oh, really?
Triple H buried. Bret didn't have to fire a shot. It was just the way that the war went. WCW came along.
Okay, how did Bret have a helping hand in getting Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to leave?
Indirectly, it was always the belief that as much as Vince always listened and did what Shawn said, that Bret had Pat Patterson's ear. And so that there was always, so Pat and Vince could talk. And Vince might say, well, Shawn, and Bret, Bret's side would come from Pat Patterson.
Right. And Pat had that much influence to influence Vince on
yes,
what
exactly.
they wanted done. Right.
For anybody who says Vince didn't know X, Y, and Z, he didn't know Nash and Hall were leaving. He didn't know any of this. Yes, he did. He did. Because, Casey, you know this. The boys can't keep a secret.
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody's going to tell somebody who's going to get the word leaked back to the office.
Right. Yeah.
So I think they let it happen, just like they let Bret leave. This was a time where Vince could not afford to re-sign Nash and Hall for the money that they had been making, which was overpaying them in the economic sense because WWF was losing money. Everybody else had to take a pay cut, and the highest paid guys on the show in that ballpark were due a raise because their contract was up.
Oh, yeah.
So
how can you give a raise if the product's not up,
Exactly. Well, the way they got him a raise was by shipping him off to WCW, who's going to pay him exponentially more.
A lot more.
Yeah. And so Vince got to look like the babyface in all of this. And those guys went to Atlanta and did their thing, and they got over. So Shawn was kind of left holding the bag. And all of that turmoil in his life, plus all the pressure of being the undersized world champion for WWF, and it's a lot of pressure. And he's still a young man at this point, and he's made a lot of mistakes, and he knows that his body is starting to go because he can feel it. He knows it. Neck is screwed, back is screwed, knee is screwed. And needs time off, can't take time off. Bret gets to take time off, but Bret wasn't the champion. And knowing that he was going to have to put Bret over to take that time off, because this was 96 now, Bret drops the belt. Bret goes on hiatus because his contract is coming to an end. Nash and Hall leave. Bret hems and haws all summer, finally resigns in October, thereabouts. At least that's when it was reported. Now the plan is Shawn's going to put him over at Mania. Shawn says, not so fast, my friend. I've lost my smile, and I'm going home.
Wow.
Yeah. At the same time, Vince is looking at his television ratings, and they're starting to crater.
Is this during the 83 weeks?
Yes. Well, it had to have been. I'm not, you know what? I never really paid attention to when the 83 weeks began. But after certainly Nash and Hall were there, the summer of 96, they were kicking our ass. See if I can find out. Yeah, Hogan turns. Nash and Hall join. Hall and Nash join. Hogan turns. The NWO was born and rip roaring hot. So yeah, they were kicking WWF's ass big time in terms of buzz, in terms of feel, in terms of fandom, people being excited. You were never sure. Casey, you still there? You're moving. Okay.
Yes. No, I'm actually trying to find out the 83 weeks.
You were sitting still, right? You were sitting still using your phone, and I was like, wait a minute, are we buffering again? Anyway, so this is in all that time where now the complete ship of the WWF is taking on water. But Vince starts to get some help.
Okay, it
And
started in the 83 weeks began in the beginning of June of 1996.
mm-hmm.
So this is during the middle of it when WCW, when I was romping down on Vince's ass.
Yep. I remember all those times. Well,
Yes, yes.
you were there during frequently there during the
Yeah.
hottest period of time. And
Yeah.
that is the same time where I started with WWF in June of 96.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
June of 96 was when Stone Cold Steve Austin wins the King of the Ring and says, Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass.
Right. So you started and they went to the shitter.
Well, we were
I
already
mean, just
there.
reading it.
These are just the facts, Kevin. Yes. But I also take credit for the entire Attitude Era. So there you go. But it takes a
Well,
while.
of course.
It takes
Without
a
those,
while.
dynamic interviews, getting
Right.
the Rock over and Stone Cold,
Sure.
where's the Rock without Kevin Kelly, right?
It's a fair
Come
question.
on.
I mean, let's be
When you
honest.
could do a cameo in one of his movies.
Brother, I'm still waiting for the phone to ring. I sit by the phone all the time. I check to make sure there's a
Man.
dial tone.
Come on,
Um,
Dewey.
I know, right? Of all people. Um, so all of these forces now are, and WWF's down, down, down. But this
Right.
is where the TV studio really starts to show their value. And it's people that you would never know, they're never talked about, but they went to bat fighting side by side with Vince. And this was
Right.
Kevin Dunn and all of his people. Okay. Kevin Dunn takes boatloads of crap from me, from others, from anybody that ever worked with him. But standing by Vince and allowing his young creative forces to come up with ideas and looks, feel for the show and what it should be. David Sahadi, Chris Chambers, Adam Panucci, all of these minds collectively coming up with and convincing Vince McMahon, this is what we
Right.
need to do. This is the way we need to go. Yes, it's going to be a sizable increase. Let's talk to USA. Let's get some money involved in this because we've got to really increase the look and production value of the show.
Oh, boy. It was. Had the old ring where
Yeah.
barricades and said a banner Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. Remember the
you know.
RAW letters,
Yeah.
small venues from the Manhattan Center and
Yeah.
then up to Poughkeepsie and then Bushkill and every little burg and upstate New York that they could drive to. It was,
Right.
but now we need to get back to big arenas. We need to get to a big look because we're competing against Nitro, who's in big arenas every week. And
Yeah.
USA Network always had Vince's back. I've said this before on this show. USA all the time. If Vince was not on the show for a few weeks, they would say, we need Vince. Okay.
Oh, wow.
He was their number one draw. He was the one that Bonnie Hammer, I think. Yes, Bonnie Hammer was the USA Network executive, the main contact for Raw. We always heard her name. I'm sure I
Right.
met her at some point and was the inside champion for Vince McMahon and the WWF with the USA Network. So now Vince has the network behind him. He's got some more money in for production. We're going to start going to bigger arenas. We're going to have to dress the sets up a little bit. We're going to have to move some stuff around, but that's okay because now we got the big arena. We can hang the lights. We can do the stage.
Right.
But we got Mania coming up, and Shawn has lost his smile. And this is where Vince Russo steps in with some crazy ideas. Just because you got to put the belt on Shawn, or just because you got to put the belt on Bret, now, Vince, because of WrestleMania, doesn't mean he has to hold the title all the way until WrestleMania, which leads
Right.
us to February 16th, 1997, the In Your House pay-per-view, where they had the four-way elimination match to crown the new champion after Shawn gave up the belt and Bret Hart wins. That was in
Mhm.
Chattanooga, Tennessee, UTC Arena, the Roundhouse, pretty cool building. Yeah. And then we go to Nashville the next night. Now, you would historically think, well, we're going to do Raw after the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view would probably be in Nashville, and the TV would be at the smaller building. But this was different now. The pay-per-views at the time were still live events, okay?
Right.
So they had the live event feel, the live event budget. And the TV, because it had more money from USA, was ponying up for this. So they needed to go to the Bridgestone Arena, the Nashville Arena, whatever it's called. So we're in Nashville for Raw. And that sets the stage now for a match between Bret and Sid, the main event, and that was how they started the night, with the announcement that Bret versus Sid was going to be the main event for the WWF Championship. Bret and Sid were the last two the night before, and there was some, controversy or whatever. So Monsoon starts off, right? We're going to start with the title match.
Mm-hmm.
They intro Sid, and out comes Steve Austin. And chaos breaks loose. Steve was also in that four-way the night before and felt he had gotten screwed. I get goosebumps just thinking about it, Casey, because this was the night that I really believe we started to come back, right? We had gotten off the deck because, man, all summer of 96, I'm watching and I'm reporting, I'm talking to Vince, and I'm like, they're kicking our ass right now. And they're hot. That product was so red hot. This was really where I felt like we started to turn things around. And it was Stone Cold Steve Austin doing what he did best, which was not follow the rules, create havoc, controversy, do whatever he wanted to do. And the start of the show, the title match, the pomp, the circumstance, here we go. Remember, Vince is on commentary. So, Austin out, involved. We go to break, right? He's fucked up the title match. What are we going to do? They continue on with the rest of the show. And there's, undercard matches, but, all the stars were there. Owen and Davey were the tag champs at the time. The Nation of Domination was starting to get some steam and starting to get over a little bit.
This is before when Monday Night Raw was really going hot. It seems like, and I think you said before, Vince Russo had a lot to do with this. Everyone on the card seemed like they were a main event match.
Yes.
And this was right before that all happened, right?
This was the start of it. This was where we're wrapping up WrestleMania 13 build, which was kind of blah, and starting to move towards 14, which was all Vince knew at this point was we're going to put the belt on Austin. Again, the plan was Shawn, Bret at 12. Shawn's up. 13, Bret, Shawn again. This time Bret's up. And then 14, it was probably going to be Bret. It would be either Bret or Shawn versus Austin. Austin up for the belt. And then
question real quick.
And then Rock Austin 15, which followed the logical procession of everything.
Right. But before all that, this happened. You said Austin did his promo, Austin 316, right?
In June of 96.
Okay, but Austin, right before that, Austin wasn't. Was he already a main eventer, or was he just kind of teetering? And did they recognize that promo got him over?
They did. And again, he was not the accidental tourist, but the original idea was for Triple H to win the King of the Ring. And because of his involvement with the Click curtain call, he was punished. They couldn't punish Nash and Hall because they were gone. X-Pac was gone. Shawn was the champ. Triple H takes the beating. Okay. So he
Right.
doesn't win the King of the Ring. And they give it to Austin. Remember, Austin got kicked in the mouth by Mark Marrow and bit through his lip. The story that they came up with on the fly, which was beautiful, was that Steve Austin had to go to a medical facility to get stitches in his lip. I think they said 18 stitches or something like that to close the wound in his lip.
Wow.
Well, he had a puncture wound through his lip, and it was bleeding and it was ugly, but he didn't have to have stitches that night. Or
Right.
maybe he did, but he never left the building, right? They just
Right.
did the stitches there or whatever. I wasn't with the company. I was in the plane, actually. I was in the air flying to Green Bay. Then, so June, Austin, summer, blah. Bret's gone. Shawn has nobody to work with. And, SummerSlam, Vader, Shawn, nobody liked that. High spot with Ron Simmons kicking Ahmed Johnson in the kidney and launching the organ into bits. And, it was Owen and Davey and doing their thing. Mankind on the, starting to grow. Undertaker kind of there, but kind of not there. Sid comes in. Oh, because Warrior, by the way, Warrior was there. June. And then was gone August of 96.
Wow.
Now here comes Sid. They rehire Sid as the Warrior replacement. And business starts to go up. They put the belt on Sid, and then Shawn gets it back. Then Shawn gives it up. Lost a smile. He goes home. Now people want to see. So there's a camp. Some people want to see Bret win again. He's re-signed with the company, and this is time for him to take his rightful place. People liked Psycho Sid as champ. They thought he was cool. We wanted to see that. We knew that Stone Cold Steve Austin was there, and he's a wild man, and everybody was digging him and what he was doing. And Vader was the fourth out of four, and Vader was Vader. So it looks like we settled things. There's controversy at the pay-per-view. Bret's the champ. Psycho Sid's got a legit claim. Rematch for the title the next night on Raw. And Steve Austin is immediately wreaking havoc, interfering on both Bret and Sid before they could get into the ring to start this match. We have to throw the deal out. We'll figure out if we can do this match later on. We don't know. In the meantime, we've got all these standby matches. Let's do them now. And it's, Owen and Davey and the Nation and all kinds of stuff. It was just, it was a good moving program. But the thread of the show, what was going to happen with the WWF Championship match that had been promised that Stone Cold Steve Austin was ruining. Okay, there's a common theme. You ruined it, Austin. You ruined it. And he said that again, Vince did, on the night that Mankind won the title, which was also a great episode of Raw. And we could talk about that at a later time. But this was, I felt, the beginning of Raw making a comeback. And so then we get to the main event, and it looks like Austin is going to win, or rather, it looks like Bret is going to win. And once again, here comes Steve Austin. He interferes. And he wanted to beat Sid. He wanted Sid to, I don't know. And instead, he hit Bret with the chair. Okay. Then Sid powerbomb on Bret. 1, 2, 3. And Psycho Sid has just regained the WWF Championship. Now a 2-time champ.
Oh, wow.
People forget that happened. That sets up, because The Undertaker comes out And that sets up Sid versus The Undertaker at 13. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, once we knew we couldn't get Bret Shawn, what we needed to do was to have Taker win so that Taker versus Bret could main event SummerSlam. Okay.
Right.
We put the title back on Bret, and then we go to Bret Austin in once Shawn lost his smile and went home, the whole deal with who was going to follow whom in terms of progression was pretty much set in stone. Bret was only going to work with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And The Undertaker, of course, and Sid, and no problem with those guys. Was not going to do business with Shawn Michaels, and Shawn wasn't going to do business with him.
Wow.
Shawn was an island unto himself with Triple H, and everybody else was kind of loosely aligned, right, if you will.
Right.
Bret was very much an individual. Steve Austin, very much an individual, and this is both on camera and behind the scenes. And Sid was one of the boys and got along with everybody. Okay.
Right.
So then this is the moment that everybody disconnects from history, I think. And this is where Bret loses his mind and flips out. Now, as I said earlier, Vince was on commentary. Okay. Raw's wore jacket and everything. And this is where on live TV, Bret Hart says, "This is bullshit." And gets up in Vince's face, and Vince stands up like he's ready to fight. And that was where the seeds of everything were born.
Yep.
This started Bret's turn, his heel turn, which was, he was a huge babyface in Canada and the big heel in the United States.
Right.
This also was the seed for Mr. McMahon. Okay. Because this was the first time that we ever saw Mr. McMahon.
Right.
And it was in this same time frame when we go back to Madison Square Garden, which was history in and of itself because it was Raw at MSG. And that was where Steve gave Vince the deal.
Oh, okay.
And now, and gets, arrested or whatever. And now this is where Mr. McMahon really starts to come up. And then when Austin wins the title the next March from Shawn Michaels, well, now Mr. McMahon is ready to go. He was already pissed at Bret, and Bret's gone. Bret spit in his face, blacked his eye. And all I am is, I'm just a small business owner trying to stand up against an evil billionaire, Ted Turner,
Yeah.
But again, using the corporate forces of outnumbering and bullying and intimidation to get what he wants.
Yeah.
Which what he wanted was the best for the product. We don't talk about, in history, we don't talk about this enough, but it was that dynamic that made that Mr. McMahon character believable and gave him, and as we always talk about, a heel just needs justification, Casey. A heel's a babyface. He's just misunderstood by all you idiots. So that, to me, that was the best Raw. That,
oh, wow. Yeah.
When I think about it, it was the most important Raw. It was wild and edgy and crazy and unpredictable, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And yet, it hadn't gone too far down in the gutter. Some of the stuff, as Russo started to play his cards, got more and more,
Crash TV.
Yeah, little Crash TV.
Jerry Springer wrestling.
Right. It was Jerry Springer, Howard Stern on Monday nights. And people loved it. Audience for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. And it wasn't Jim Cornette. Here at this time, Cornette still had a lot of sway on, at least the wrestling side of it. And if you want to gimmick up the world title and you want to hot shot the belt, okay.
Right.
Because that was also talked about, Casey.
Oh, really?
We just put the belt on Bret last night. And now, 24 hours later, we're going to do a rematch for the title. Not the same match, but the title's on the line. People just paid, well, I don't know if they had raised prices yet, but there was an In Your House the night before.
Mm-hmm.
People paid money to see the title and saw the title switch. So now you're going to give them a title match on free TV the next night? Again, remember,
Oh, that's right.
USA.
They weren't doing a lot of that back then.
No.
Yeah, it was all because even when they showed it on TV, they showed pictures of it. You remember?
Correct. Because they wanted to sell the replay.
Right.
Remember, the pay-per-view replay was a consistent revenue stream, because if people didn't watch it live, if the results were good, and again, this is pre-internet, so it was word of mouth. We couldn't stream the whole thing 10 seconds as the show is going on. Somebody also has pirated streams. And there was some of that with pay-per-view, but it wasn't like it is now. So if the show had buzz and if people were talking about it, you could sell replay. We sold replay all through the weekend. We sold replay all throughout Monday night.
Oh, wow.
We had and that was the big thing. But as I said in the beginning, now you've got USA, and now you've got the young, hungry TV people, along with Vince Russo, who are taking with Vince going, yeah, I think so. I like this idea. USA paying more for production, and these younger guys and these different minds, not Pat, not Bruce, not JR, not Cornette, they're saying, fuck the old rules. Let's do it this way. Why can't we do a title match the next night? Because of what? It's a totally different match. Yes, the championship is on the line, but it's a totally different match. And in the span of 24 hours, you get to see two different people win the title.
And they did. Yeah, they broke away from the tradition of how wrestling was traditionally displayed and everything.
Right.
And it's pretty, when you really peel away the layers, you get down to, there's a lot of stuff behind it all. It's really interesting.
Yes. And these are the things that, of course, they were not public figures, and we didn't talk about the people at the TV studio, but they were the creative minds who came up with all the pay-per-view, Sahadi and Chris Chambers and Panucci and all these guys with Kevin Dunn's lead. They were the ones that were putting all of this really cool stuff into motion and were pushing the envelope, push, go, do different things. Technology is improving. And we're starting to get a little faster and be able to do things better, making things, but it was still tape to tape, and it was still, hard work to get these things turned around. Yeah. Fascinating time.
Yeah, definitely.
So the old guard versus the new guard. And Vince was in the middle of the change. Vince was breaking away from being the traditional straight-laced announcer and was morphing into Mr. McMahon before our eyes, and it took a year plus for him to get there. It was, what a time. What a time.
Oh, yeah. Once he did, oh, man. Like I say, one of the greatest heels ever.
Yeah. It was it was just, and all of this was, it was kind of organic.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, well, the long-term plan, pal, is for me to turn and, this, that, and the other. They didn't know
it just happened.
Yeah, they didn't know Shawn was going to lose his smile. They didn't know Bret was going to, Vince knew Bret was going to leave at some point, but then at that time in 1997, he was hoping that he could keep Bret in the fold. And then as we got along and knowing what kind of money Bret would command, and if I lob that $9 million grenade into the WCW locker room, it's going to cause a whole lot of chaos and consternation, which it did. We don't need Bret anymore because He's already gotten Steve Austin over. We
Right.
have The Rock, and we're ready to move on. So,
Those guys actually were so much bigger than Bret ever was, though.
right.
In the end, when you look back at it, Bret was down here, and Austin and The Rock were way, way above him.
Right. And the old guard, because Pat was part of that old guard, the old guard would say, yeah, Steve is great and The Rock is great, but you need to have Bret in there. You need to have Bret to make a match. You need to have Bret be the wrestler in the match because as great as Dwayne is, he's not Bret Hart. And Steve Austin is great in his own regard, and he has great chemistry with Bret, but he needs somebody to work with. So that would be Bret Hart, because it's not going to be Sid. It's not going to be The Undertaker. It's not going to be Vader. It's not going to be Owen. And it's not going to be Davey Boy Smith. So they needed Bret until they didn't need Bret anymore. Because now
so it became too expensive.
He did. But why do we need him at that point? Because now we've got Rock.
They didn't.
Now we've got Rock. Now we've got Ken Shamrock by the end of 97.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we can mix and match with that. And we're okay. We'll be fine. And that'll get us through first half, 97. And again, he had that series of matches. He wins the belt from Shawn at Mania. Steve Austin does. Then he defends against, and I might be going out of order, but Ron Simmons, Mankind, The Undertaker, and, then we did Hell in the Cell, Kane, and Austin with Mick and Taker underneath. And you had, again, Mick Foley as the growing, burgeoning superstar that he was to come. And it took Mankind a long time to earn Vince's trust and really start to think of him as part of the family. And it was around this time that I remember, and I can't remember if it was the pay-per-view the night before, but I distinctly remember, because I was standing right next to Mick, as he thanks Mick for whatever he did. He says, "You're part of the family now, pal."
Oh, wow.
And yeah. Now, of course, family being what it is with Vince McMahon, that doesn't always last so well, because then after busting his ass and should have been in the main event in 15, he goes with Austin Rock again, instead of it being Austin Mankind Rock three-way, which is what it should have been, because he did all the business with the halftime heat, yada, yada, yada. And while Steve was off with his neck, Rock and Mankind carried the ball. And family, you're still family, pal, but you're going to sit this one out. You're going to get choke slammed on a chair by the Big Show.
Yeah.
And that's your WrestleMania. There's your WrestleMania moment, pal. Okay, thoughts? Anything that you can remember from that period in time? How closely were you following what Raw was doing, or were you just riding high with the cocaine cowboys down there in Atlanta, enjoying life? 83 weeks.
Abrams?
Oh, hell yeah.
No, I only thing that I followed was when they had the monitor going in the back, and they had it Raw playing on one of the TVs or something. I mean, not a whole lot. I watched a lot of it after the fact and stuff like that. Some of the takeaways I get from it is, I find it very hard to believe that Sid is not in the Hall of Fame.
He's not?
No. You know who is, though? Michelle McCool.
Oh, yeah.
No Sid. 2-time world champion. Like, when you just saying they weren't doing world title matches all the time.
Yep.
And he's not in the Hall of Fame.
And how about this? Right? So we know Bret. Bret's a gamer and a tough wrestler. But a man the size of Sid, main eventing the pay-per-view one night, and then coming back the next night with 2 or 3 stops and starts to the match and going in there and having a very good match against Bret
Yeah.
Hart as the main event and winning, and then doing business with Taker for the stare down as the show went off the air. A guy that size.
Yeah.
And he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, maybe if he was married to Taker. Oh, sorry.
So Mark Calloway McCool, does he have the hyphen? Does he carry her name? Like,
you know what? Yeah, he should.
he should.
He's not going to do anything to us, so
I know, but you can have fun. Like with Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett, they had Mike Bennett because it was like, oh, she wears the pants of the family, so they had Mike Bennett Kanellis, and then just went with Mike Kanellis. Is their podcast still on? I haven't seen any news about it.
I think it is. I don't think they're doing nothing like they did before, but they took the whole approach. You know what? If you don't like it, don't watch something else.
Yeah,
because they're making big money from WWE for doing it, so
sure,
they don't care.
No, And what about? What about of course, now the controversy of the week? A couple of weeks ago, just to show you how the news cycle goes. A couple of weeks ago here on this show, we were talking about my friend, Sarah Stock. And Casey, you would love her. She would be your friend too.
And she did like the comment on Twitter, the short. She liked it.
Yeah, so that was, and I thank her for that. And I thank her for, putting us over. Because, again, the clip of me reminiscing about the value of Sarah Stock as a coach producer in AEW goes back to my time with the three-way match that she was the agent for and laid out this beautiful finish. And so as that was tweeted out, she quote tweeted it and said, but she told us who the match was. It was Statlander and
wow,
Mary McBain, or I forget what her name was. Julia Hart. Yeah, Julia Hart, Stat, and somebody else. Anywho.
Okay.
It was, and so she reminded, because I couldn't remember who was in the match, just like I can't remember now. And she said, "Thank you so much, friend. It was Stat, and whatever her name was, and whatever her name is."
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was nice. That was old news. Sarah Stock, old news. Out the door. We're not talking about that anymore, right? The news of the week: 2 girls that used to be in NXT went to AEW after they had gotten released from NXT or WWE. I'm not really sure. And they lost their debut as a tag. By the way, they're a lesbian couple. I don't know if you know this, Casey. They lost their debut as a tag team and then came back for the next week and we're going to lose to another babyface team or the same team. Excuse me, I have hiccups. But it was only going to take them 3 minutes to lose.
All right.
And they said no. And they went to the bar. So.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all anybody's talking about now. If I go on.
And something else about it, that I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
With Tony Khan. They are rolling out their 21st or 22nd championship belt.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
The national title, right?
The national title. So they do a whole thing in Atlanta or whatever with Tony Schiavone, and the funny thing is they're talking. Oh, they haven't had this title for 30 years. I believe the NWA with Billy Corgan and all them, don't they use that title right now?
They sure do. And it's just it is, and
bizarre.
They don't even feel, and again, nobody feels bad for the NWA because they had one of their titles stolen or whatever, but it's another belt in a company that has way too many belts with a bunch of champions that aren't over, and it's just like everybody goes, seriously, dude?
Yeah.
we were interested about 6 or 7 belts ago. And now it's just gotten ridiculous.
Yeah. And did you see the glasses Tony Khan was wearing?
Yeah.
Whoa, they're like,
Hipster, baby.
wow.
On that Bolivian marching powder. Yeah.
AEW is touring Peru.
He was down in Peru with Hack Myers and Dave Heath. Chewing on the beetle nut.
Not Dave Johnson.
Or Dave Johnson.
Don't want to confuse the Daves, but even though they're, one and the same.
Yeah. Dave Johnson.
He would have been right there with them, though.
God rest their soul, both of them.
Yeah.
That Peruvian beetle nut they were chewing on.
Yeah.
So that was that news with the girls, and they were fighting each other, or fighting the other ones, and not getting enough time and leaving. And then of course Okada, which New Japan News makes news. Hiroshi Tanahashi's getting ready to wrestle his last match of his career on January 4th, 2026 at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. And there was a lot of question as to who his last opponent was going to be. And it was really down in fans' minds to 2 people, which were, forever linked to Tanahashi and his career. And that was Shinsuke Nakamura and Kazuchika Okada. So, of course, Nakamura is under contract to WWE and might be a little difficult to get. But the relationship with Okada, with AEW, you would think would be, well, it's just turnkey. It's just Okada. But Okada quit New Japan because he hates the owner, Kidani. And there were a lot of people that said Okada will never go back under any circumstances. But he'll go back for Tanahashi, and he is. So Okada is going back. Now, I want to get your take on this. I have mixed feelings. So what they're doing, Okada has the Tanahashi match, but coming up in AEW, he also has the big match with Takeshita. And Takeshita has his own, because he's a champion in New Japan as well. He is the champion, by the way. He's the world champion. Takeshita has a match against Yota Tsuji for the world title, and Tanahashi versus Okada, the retirement match for Tanahashi, the return of Okada. They are going back and doing a scenario that happened at Wrestle Kingdom 8, 9, 10, 9. It was in 2013. Mm-hmm. It was Tanahashi versus Shinsuke for the Intercontinental title, and Okada versus Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Naito wasn't over. He had won the G1, but he was a babyface at the time and wasn't over. Tanahashi was over. Shinsuke was super over. Okay, so out of the 4, Shinsuke was number 1, Tanahashi tight number 2, Okada not far behind 3, and there's Naito kind of down like Vader was earlier on. Right. And they put it to a fan vote, which I don't know if it was worked or not, but fans voted that they wanted to see what would be the main event. Now, obviously, it's got to be the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, of course. Well, that came in second. And Shinsuke versus Tana was the main for the Intercontinental title, which was the secondary championship. And that led to Tetsuya Naito's whole story arc of going away from New Japan, going to Mexico, coming back as the, Los Ingobernables, forming his own faction from CMLL, Los Ingobernables de Japón, becoming this rebel, this outlaw. Now they're doing the same thing. Tanahashi versus Okada, Tanahashi's match. Konosuke Takeshita versus Yota Tsuji for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And Okada says, let's put it to a fan vote as to what should be the main event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because, but this has a lot to do with AEW as well, because Okada and Takeshita, they have an upcoming big battle in AEW, and it's a way in storyline for Okada to keep his thumb down on Takeshita, which is the way they've been playing it the whole time. Okada is going to be big heel. He's not coming out as a Rainmaker. He's going to come out with his AEW theme. He said all this at the press conference the other day.
Oh, wow.
He's going to show the fans of New Japan that the wrestler Okada has become in AEW is better and is good enough to beat Tanahashi. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's neat. It's a neat dynamic. Playing off of an old story that goes way back involving Tetsuya Naito. Oh, and by the way, while Okada was in Japan, he and Tetsuya Naito, Naito has also left New Japan, they were out eating food, took a picture, posted it on social media. Internet goes wild, like, he's coming back. Naito's coming back. Okada's back. Naito's back. Everybody's back. Everybody gets a belt in AEW, and everybody's coming back to New Japan.
Wow.
So there's my New Japan summarization.
I guess Meltzer's going to be busy with some 11-star matches, huh?
Pants off. He'll be ready to go. He will be ready to go. So did you see the star ratings for the last AEW pay-per-view?
I only could imagine, because they're always like the best, the greatest thing ever, right?
Yeah, and so nothing's really, there's no quote-unquote bad matches, but there's no difference in a 4-star match between two guys and a 4-star match against two other guys, because they're doing the same moves, right? It's the same freaking match, just done with moves in a different order.
Yeah.
But Meltzer's grading scale is off the charts now. Everybody gets an A at the Professor Meltzer class. It's something else.
Yeah, but what are they getting at WWE?
B minus.
It's like he has no credibility anymore.
I know.
It's like the credibility's gone. It's like he's very biased and then like acts like, oh, what am I doing? Oh,
He's like, you don't get it. You're wrong. And he tries to defend himself. Well, he does defend himself using statistics, his own perception, his own historical references. And, of course, the AEW sycophants, they follow along and they go, yeah.
Yeah, because they'll bash anyone that says anything.
I know.
We know that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that. I was insane. I got run out of the company. Excuse me. I have hiccups. Yeah, so I've hang on a second. Oh.
You want me to scream real loud?
No.
Scare you?
I had so one of the things that we have here in central Pennsylvania, of course, I'm right by the state capital, Harrisburg. And Harrisburg is a neat city with a tremendous history and just a lot of cool stuff. And they have
airport.
They have a great little airport. And they have a historic downtown. And they have an older section of town called Allison Hill. And, if you read the police blotter, that's where a lot of crime happens. And
right.
Some rundown areas. But they have really good fried chicken there. So that's what I got for dinner. It was awesome.
You forgot I lived in Lancaster, so I know where you're talking about.
You know exactly where I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, this place called USA Fried Chicken on 13th and Derry Street in Harrisburg. This isn't a Dave Meltzer rating, but it gets 5 stars. 5 stars for USA Fried Chicken, 13th and Derry Street in Harrisburg.
All right.
Here's how you walk in.
Sponsor, so
yeah, they're not even a sponsor. By the way,
do you just scream your order out?
You can.
That happened to me at a barbecue place in St. Louis or Kansas City.
Yeah.
Just went in and said, "Rack of ribs." You just whoever was the loudest got the food the first.
Oh my gosh,
It was
that's
the
so
craziest
funny.
thing ever. I was like, whoa.
I don't know how well the sound travels because they have about inch thick bulletproof glass in front of the counter here at USA Fried Chicken. You can only pay cash, and the way you pay and get your food, there's an opening in the plexiglass, in the bulletproof glass, and you have to put your hand in it, and then it goes this way. And you hand the guy the money. And then he puts the bag of food here and pushes it. So you get it this way. Damn, that's good fried chicken. They have, and by the way, it was $16. $16 for 2 3-piece combos with fries and a soda.
That's not bad.
No, not bad at all. And I've got 2 pieces of chicken left and fries for lunch tomorrow. I'm excited. Very excited.
You might be able to get a little crack on the parking lot on the way home for dessert.
You could have. There was a nice young lady who came up to me. I thought she was a fan. Of the In-Ring Wrestling podcast. And she came up to me.
I think she knew you from AEW.
She did know me from AEW because she came up to me and said, "Hey, you got any change?" And I was like, hang on. I said, "No, all I got is plastic," which was a lie. I had paper because I'm going to USA Fried Chicken and they don't take credit cards, Casey. It's cash only.
Atlanta is really bad for the homeless people. Like bombarding you, asking for money. And so we used to go every year to the Georgia World Congress Center where they had the Olympics, and we always had a big wrestling event when Chase was, younger and everything. And I walk down the street and they're like, hey man, you got some money? You got some money? Oh, I'm like, I always say, oh man, sorry, all I have is a card. So finally Chase like, yeah, that's really smart, Dad. You don't have to be rude or yell at them. You just say, oh, sorry. He said, what are you gonna do when they pull out a cube? Oh, here you go, just swipe it. Like
give me the. I got Square on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can cash at me. You can cash at me all day long. All right, Casey. I need to wrap this up because it's 9:15. I got to go to bed. But next
cold
week
down here, I'm freezing. I've been shivering the whole show.
So all summer long,
I didn't put one on. It was like, what is the temperature outside? It is 47 degrees.
What?
Yeah, and my window's open. That's why I've been moving around so much. Is I'm not doing drugs. I'm freezing.
He's tweaking. No, he's not.
I know. I've been like, man, I'm moving an awful lot tonight, and I'm like, oh, I'm cold. I have goosebumps and everything.
Yeah, it's something else. So, anyway, I need to put this episode to bed so I can go to bed. Next week, Casey uncovered the greatest Nitro episode.
Ooh.
Okay.
That'd be in my opinion on what the greatest is.
Do your research.
Yes.
All right. So that's it, my boy. I'm struggling right now.
Alrighty.
Okay.
We'll go to bed and we'll be back next Sunday
with the all-new edition.
Kevin's gonna have to take a nap Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So he can stay up for the show that night.
For an all-new edition of the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast for Casey Thompson. I'm Kevin Kelly.
I was actually taking a nap when you texted me on Sunday.
All right, so that'll do it. And we'll see you next week for the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast.